Before joining Apathy is Boring in the nonprofit and community sector world, I was essentially working in business marketing in the private sector, and essentially helping brands and businesses grow and make more money than they really needed until this was me. I realized that I was helping people who would thrive with or without me. When really, if I injected the same amount of skill, of passion, of knowledge into a cause or an organization or platform that needed it, I literally had the skill set to transform that. So I joined Apathy is Boring, whose mission is essentially to encourage youth and civic engagement, and deal with the ever-decreasing youth voter turnout issue that Canada has been facing up until the 2015 federal election, where we had a slight peak in this last federal election as well. First thing I did when I joined Apathy is Boring was figure out, okay, who are the millennials? Who am I talking to? These are the millennials segmented into literally compartmentalized categories by our millennial social media millennial values study, which really helped us understand who we were talking to. And I figured out that the most important, or the biggest rather, segment of millennials in Canada are the bros and the Britneys. So these are financially stable, social people who don't really care about making a change in the world, but who have a lot of resources and knowledge. And these are 1/3 of millennials. Basically, this is the most accurate description or depiction I can find of the bros and the Britneys. And I think a lot of us can relate to this description, okay? So they're online, they're consumers, they're digitally savvy, but again, making a change in the world isn't necessarily at the top of their list, which was my biggest challenge. And so, which led us to phase 1 of our federal election campaign. Phase 1 was essentially getting people to understand all of these big terms and jargons that we were going to see throughout the media. So how are we going to explain to youth what a bill is in a way that's understandable? How are we going to explain to youth what a writ is once the writ drops in fun, light language? So we decided to build a Canadian Vote Coalition along with the Ryerson Democratic Exchange Lab, where we rallied up 600 organizations across the country who committed to activating their own networks and communities in order to help us get out the vote for this last federal election. And that was a key strategy in our outreach. So the goal was really to not do this and not use messages, bland, and these boring colors to get youth out to vote and to understand the importance of voting, because this doesn't speak to a bro and a Britney at all. Doesn't even speak to me. So we decided to focus on lighter, funner, more relatable memes, such as this one. This is actually, believe it or not, our highest shared and viewed social media post on Apathy is Boring's history, with a reach of over 300,000 youth, if you can believe it. This one post had 300,000 views and I think over 10,000 shares. This one as well had a reach of, I think, 250,000 youth. Simple, to the point, always referring back to Apathy is Boring, because what we understood is that youth just need people who they trust to talk to them about information that's inaccessible. And Apathy is Boring has established that relationship with youth. So by creating these lighter content, we can get them back to us. And so we also decided to have a in-person street teams campaign where we toured with Ariana Grande, literally went on tour with Ariana Grande in Canada, and activated at every single one of her Canadian stops, and spoke with the Britneys who were present. We also activated with urban youth, so understanding that the top 3 youth categories who don't show up to vote are Indigenous youth, ethnocultural youth, and unemployed youth. So touring with Ariana Grande is one segment of youth that we get. Activating a hip hop concert was also another segment of youth, equally as important. We also decided to create our Table Topics initiative, which sent out 500 free meals to youth across the country in order to get them to talk about politics at the dinner table, because statistics say that just by talking about politics with friends and family, you are 10 times more likely to vote. We had a partnership with Instagram, so creating strategic alliances, cross-sectoral alliances between the nonprofit and the for-profit world, where we teamed up with influencers and had them create a Table Topics, spoke to them about activating their communities so that they too can then spread the word in a fun, light, engaging way with their respective communities. We had a partnership with Bumble, where we not only activated in Vancouver and downtown Toronto, but we also had an online campaign where every single person who changed their, or who added an I'm a voter badge rather on their Bumble profile got one, content to understand how to get out the vote, and two, a donation to Apathy is Born. Lyft was one of our, I think, the partnerships that I was proud of, because it really enabled us to get out youth who have accessibility issues. So either unemployed youth, youth in rural areas, youth with disabilities who had free access to the platform as well. And we also branded voting in a fun and light Britney-esque way, so that it seemed like it was fashionable to vote. And you can vote while you go to the mall. You can vote while you go shopping. You can vote right after going to the movies. That was one of our main strategies as well. So this is on the importance of social media for social impact. So the highest ranking reason why people share on social media is to support a cause or issues they feel strongly about. Second one, share to pass valuable information. 41% of these respondents influence action about products by sharing. So social media is increasingly being used for social impact, as we can see for the Sudan, Blue for Sudan movement that happened recently, who helped, one, raise awareness about the issues, but also ultimately led to a revolution in the country. And we saw the positive impact of just one person changing their avatar to blue, and the impact that that had not only on a societal level, but on a political level as well. Last one is to all the organizations. As someone who's coming in from the business world, ignoring social media, if you have a social cause, is the biggest mistake you can do as an organization or as a youth trying to engage. Social media is a literally transformative tool, and we have the ability to connect with others, to engage with others, and to quite literally change the world just with a click of a button. So being strategic about how we do that, taking the time to implement a strategy to do that, and to do it well in a way that can entice others to do great things is important. Thank you.